What's up, everybody? It's Lo, your host, and the rest of the Vols ATB crew. We've got Brando, Alex, and Drew, and we have so much to cover tonight, from baseball to football, the recruiting, NIL, Spire, everything else. Bussin' with the Boys featuring Coach Heupel. It's pretty awesome. But tonight we're going to start with us hosting Alabama. We won the series, but everything happened, it seemed like. Apparent ban on home run celebrations. Tony V got thrown out. It was Coach Frank that got thrown out, I believe, right? Frank Anderson. And then we also saw a child get hit with a foul ball. So it was just a wild weekend. Let's just start out there. Friday's first night of the baseball series.
For Friday, it's like no secret. The home plate umpire, it was atrocious what we had to witness on Friday night, game one of the series. I don't know if it's, where he was standing or is he just blind or, the hatred he has for our staff, but this guy just could not see a strike zone. I don't know how many balls or pitches that were going to guys' ankles. And there was a stat I saw on Twitter where this guy missed 57 striking ball calls, absolutely atrocious. And we're going to jump into the next games, but it never got better. This guy was just, in our head, trying to make it all about him. And I feel like that kind of controlled the first two games. But honestly, the way we bounced back, I was proud of that. But in the game one, it was just absolutely horrendous. And then we couldn't get anything going. Chase Burns struggled. That was, one of his worst games, in my opinion. And for him being a, first day starter, just kind of tough to see. But game one, had to get it all off our chests.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really tough performance to watch, especially after they struggled offensively, to Tennessee Tech earlier that week as well. This is the second straight, game now that Burns has really struggled, pitching within the first few innings. He struggled a lot in that Friday game against Missouri as well. So I don't know if there's something that's maybe up with him or if he's a little cold stretch, but, they struggled. They struggled badly offensively, as Brando said as well on Friday. Just couldn't get anything going with the bats. And, when you miss 57 calls, within the strike zone, I mean, it's just there's nothing that was going to go your way.
Awful.
Yeah, Jeff Massius is god-awful as an umpire. Never should not be umpiring any college baseball games whatsoever. Absolute disgrace. But, they bounced big time those last two games for sure and made a statement, I believe, in my opinion, to the rest of the conference.
Yeah, I think Brando really just hit the nail on the head when he said it was basically a nut showing contest, and he called Tony V's bluff, and Tony V showed up. He showed up in that man's face. But it's weird. I always make basketball references, so I'm a reference to the Memphis Grizzlies game last night. The refs wanted to be a part of that so much, and I don't understand what it is when some type of officiating crew gets it in their head. Maybe not even crew, just individuals get it in their head that it's I want people to see me make this scene or make this call or something. And that's kind of what he basically accomplished the whole weekend. And that was it. Let me just show my hind end and piss a bunch of people off and then go about my day, pissing people off enough to where we're tracking them in the airport of Tyson McGee or McGee Tyson, however you say it. But so please refrain from attacking individuals.
Guys, we have such a horrible reputation as a fan base. We cannot be doing it. All right, come on. Let's just think things through. All right, we whoop their ass in baseball. We can't.
Thanks.
This is for all of us.
No, absolutely.
Not just here, but Twitter, whatever. Whoever's listening to this, do not go talking to the refs or the umpire boards. That looks really, really bad for us.
We always looking for smoke, and then we also cause things to make people hate us, and then we're like, why does the national media hate us? Because we follow people. We follow people everywhere. We search them up on Facebook immediately after they make one bad call. So it's all right, let's pump the brakes. But yeah. I mean, you're right. He just tried to show his hind end basically the whole weekend. But Vols still won the series. That's all that really matters.
I will say I kind of fed into that a little bit because I said I wanted his address to mail him a pocket pussy. But honestly, I would have just been doing him a favor because at least he would have been getting something.
Fair.
He got something game two, that's for sure. I mean,
I want to hear everyone's thoughts about that because I rewatched it a billion times, and of course we know that Tony V is a hothead, and like I get that once you make contact, like it's an automatic suspension, but to me it looked like dude just stepped to him. It wasn't like he was like really hardcore going at him, like, and he made kind of a really big deal about it. I don't know. I mean, I know that Tony V is like a hothead, but I thought it was basically nothing. But then I get, of course, we deserve maximum death penalty because we're Tennessee. So I don't know. What do y'all think about it?
Well, first off, in my opinion, Jeff, he should have never been involved in that altercation. If we want to really cover it, what happened was our pitching coach, he came out because it was a 2-0 count. We'd already missed 2 calls to start off the game in the first inning. And then on the third pitch, the guy for Bama, he steps out of the batter's box. In college baseball rules, that's an automatic out. And then on that same pitch, he gets hit in his arm and that injury happens. So the pitching coach, he's already pissed off as it is. But in my opinion, the home plate umpire wasn't the problem in game 2. I feel like the rest of the crew was honestly pretty decent from there going forward. But Jeff, when he inserted himself into the conversation, like you just come up out of nowhere, having a conversation, ejects our pitching coach, and then Tony V comes up to him. And, there's like circulation about what he said, may or may not have said to Jeff, maybe calling him a wussy and so forth. But, on top of that, Jeff should have never been involved in the conversation. And whenever Tony V was having his initial talk with him, I feel like he was like literally about to walk away. And then Jeff said something back to him to make Tony get triggered. And that's when the contact happened, in my opinion. But honestly, I wouldn't drag the rest of the crew. I just feel like Jeff, that one guy, he hates our guts from last year in Omaha, and our coach from in the minor leagues. Like, this is not a new thing with Jeff in Tennessee. Like, he absolutely hates us.
Yes, I didn't see that live because, I was at Bristol for the dirt race. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to NASCAR. But I did watch the replay of it. From what I've heard, apparently Bama's bench was like cheered, I guess, like when Dollander got hit.
Yep.
And I guess Frank got all redneck angry about that. And then, Jeff Mathias and Tony V have actually had some history in the past, not just with Omaha, but years even prior to that. And I think it's just one of those things where, like, if Tony V even opened his mouth, those were just going to be immediate, just throw him out of the game. I don't know what the deal with Jeff Mathias is. I don't know if it's just because he only played 1 year of JV baseball in high school or something or what, but the man's got some issues that he needs to sort out for sure, need to leave at home, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I mean, I love to see that type of passion from Tony V, though. I think it was a bit ridiculous they suspended him 4 games, though. That seemed a bit excessive.
On Easter weekend, man, it's just wrong.
Disgraceful.
I just think that, like, if another grown man comes up to you and like gives you a slight chest bump, there's no reason for you to fall 5 steps backwards and have to put a hand planted into the ground to stop your fall. Like, honestly, Lo, you can agree that if this man has that kind of issue, he needs balance training. Like, he needs help. He has severe issues going on. But, like, I mean, I don't know. First off, like, if he came up to me like that, I'm at least gonna like bow back up and be like, okay, like if you hit me, like I'm gonna at least like stand my ground. But that was just a dramatic fall. And then also to that point, you could kind of see with the way the other umpires stepped in that they weren't really like quick to like physically stop Tony V, but they was just like, hey like hold on. Like they kind of like knew that like something was about to blow up, and they knew that like their dude was probably in the wrong. Like it looked like they were understanding of the situation. Like, hey, calm down. Like you're going to get in trouble way more than he is. So like, hold your horses a second. But I find it comical that like he did 7 backflips because somebody like put his chest on him.
Oh, it looked like a flop from like an English Premier League match with like Man United or something. It was like a soccer flop. It was
absolutely.
You would have
thought he had serious injury.
Awful.
It was really bad. And honestly, I just don't get it. Like, I mean, yeah, they're also 2 grown men, but like, who just stands there with someone right in your face and doesn't plan to expect something to happen? Like, if someone's like 2 inches in front of my face screaming at me or saying something, I'm going to prepare to like maybe take some impact or something. I mean, obviously, this guy's never had any physical contact in his life besides getting his ass beat. So I just don't understand.
See, why everybody with us? It's comments like that. Come on, guys. Come on, Lo.
He did it on Easter
0%,
weekend,
0%
Drew.
physical affection from anyone ever. In this
Oh,
man's
I mean,
life.
this guy came
You
to
know,
Knoxville and he ruined our Easter. He tried to ruin our Easter.
Did
That's
he
true.
really though? I mean, we outscored Bama 24-6 in those two games. I'd like to think there was a bigger picture than the bump incident, bump gate. So
I'm just saying, like, if we didn't take it into our own hands, I'm like kind of scared of how that series worked out because in like game 2 and 3, the bats did come alive. Like you had Jordan Beck, he hit 2 homers, Trey Lipscomb hit 2, and I think Ortega even hit 2 himself. So like, 3 guys with 2 home runs apiece, and I was like 13 or 14 of our 27 like runs in the series, I think, came off at home runs. Like absolutely ridiculous. But if that hadn't happened, I wonder how the officiating and umpires would have made it about themselves and what would happen with Jeff because game 1 and 2 he was all there.
Maybe this is just me. I just kind of had a random question that I thought of. Do you feel like our team? I feel like I see a lot more of this, but do you feel like our team hits a lot of solo shots? Like I've kind of noticed that I see a lot of like single home runs. I don't know if that might just be me, but
I feel like Luke does a lot every time he comes up to the batter, no matter what, especially Lipsius. Like recently, his bat has been absolutely high. Like even on solo home runs or just getting on base, I feel like him being that strong leader on the team, he's definitely been the kind of guy to like rally behind. And after he gets his home run in, I feel like then you have Beck and Lipscomb and all that fall with it. So.
Well, personally, I wanted to give a shout out to Ortega for the Saturday-Sunday series. Like, he played freaking badass. I was just texting y'all last night. I couldn't pull up stats for that, but I did watch the whole thing, and he got, I don't know how many, 2?
5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, he did really well. I was so pissed that I couldn't pull up stats, so I'm just sitting here, like, trying to talk out of memory, but that's okay. I just want to give him a shout out.
I feel like Luke and Ortega are really like our 2 guys that we can really rely on when it comes to at batting. I mean, because he went 4 for 5 on Sunday as well. And, this team gets either like a lot of like, solo shot homers or triples. I've never seen a team in my life get as much triples as this team does. Like, it's insane. I feel like they average at least 1 or 2 triples a game.
Bro, even Luke, he was like, I'm going to give him another shout out. Like, he hit that one and he saw it, he kind of watched it for a second. Then he turned on the burners and he got the third. Man, I was like, dang. Like, he was ready to go. It's just crazy seeing those guys. Like, most guys would just sit there and glare, try to get a base hit just in general. Like, we're out here pushing, trying to push it down your throat.
And Drew, I think you tweeted this actually. You were saying like our ability to score with 2 outs is uncanny across the league. So I also think that's really big because it's like once you get to 2 outs, like the defense is feeling pretty confident that they're about to flip the scene and put some runs on the board. But like, how demoralizing is it? You've got 2 outs on us, number 1 team in the country, and then they still find a way to put up 2 or 3 runs at the rest of that inning. Like, that's got to be just piss you off type.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, this team's clutch, man. Like, in game time situations where they really need to get runs in, with literally the only exceptions are that Tennessee Tech game and Alabama on Friday night. Like, that is literally it. Outside of that, it's like in any situation where they need to get at least a couple runs in, they manage to make it happen. And I mean, there's a reason why, like we're the odds-on favorite to win the College World Series this year. I mean, this team just – I feel like I'm saying this every week, but this team is ridiculous. Like, honestly, it's wild.
Another thing I wanted to note on our pitching, like the relievers especially, I wanted to give a shout-out to them because our pitching day 1 was off with Chase Burns. Day 2, you have the injury, and, you're like, oh, like, fuck, what are we going to do? Then you have Sidwell – I think came in and he, pitched 5 or 6 innings, only allowing 2 runs. Absolutely insane. And then day 3, Drew Beam kind of held his own, allowing 3. But all in all, our relievers were our strong suit. They only allowed 1 earned run in the whole series of all 3 games, where they were key with all 3 starting pitchers not really doing anything. And to like have that kind of bullpen in your arsenal on top of pitching, especially because Seth Halverstein, the transfer from Missouri, he's out for the rest of the year. I think his injury got reset. And then now you got one of the pitchers that's day-to-day with Dolander. So you just got to, try to get going and try to find a way. But I think our pitching has really been helpful even when we can't score runs.
I agree with that. You just mentioned Dolander. Did they ever come out and say specifically, like, what it was? I obviously got hit.
Bruise. Like, I think by next weekend he'll be good to go from what I've heard. So
I'm sure.
Really scared about it.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
my God. But I was curious if there were any updates.
I guess going into the Florida one, Drew, you had that big update about that one pitcher we're about to play.
Yeah, so Florida's best pitcher, Hunter Barca, he's actually the only starter that they have that has a, lower than a 3 ERA. He got shut down for the rest of the year for, with arm issues and everything. So they're now left with Brandon Sproat and Nick. So both these guys have over 4.2 ERA, and, I think they each only have 3 wins this year alone. And this is a huge issue that Florida's had all season with their starting rotation. So could have happened to a better team, especially this weekend. So I'm ready to watch us chomp on those Gators this weekend for sure.
Well, I saw something. I saw something earlier today that said, speaking of Ortega, said that he had like 20 family members coming in for the game, and it was I think it's 20 Puerto Ricans or something like that. And they said it doesn't matter if like the rest of our fan base doesn't travel because 20 Puerto Ricans can keep up with the rest of the ballpark down there.
Oh yeah,
I'm so excited to just see what that environment's like, because anytime Tennessee gears up to play Florida, it's always going to be something going on. But I would love nothing more than to only hear 20 Puerto Ricans and however many other Vol fans are there just cheering their heads off while the Vols just sweep Florida. That would be nothing better to start my weekend and get these finals weeks started. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Anytime you can beat Florida, absolutely for it. Same thing with Bama. Won the series, but now we're looking for a sweep. So let's get that turned around and see what we can do down in Gainesville.
After Drew's bit of info, I'm pretty confident in sweeping that series. Even if it's away, I'm not really concerned about it. That's also funny about his family. Like, they'll probably have a ballin'-ass time.
Mm-hmm.
I love Puerto Rico, and all the people are so lively and fun. It's such a blast. Great place to go.
I guess another note, since we're going on the road, the Vols in baseball, we haven't lost a road series since 2019. So absolutely ridiculous. I don't expect that to change at all this weekend with that starting pitcher out. I just see us having fun with the bats, and if there's 20 Puerto Ricans with our crazy fan base on top of that, I'm just kind of scared to see what we're going to do in Gainesville. People already hate us baseball-wise, and if you make some Gator fans hate you, they're going to get toxic. So
fuel to the fire, baby.
Honestly, if you live anywhere near that stadium, you got to go. I looked it up just for the hell of it. Tickets are $15 for that.
Oh my God!
You got to go. Like,
they must not be expecting much.
Oh, that's true.
They're just trying to make some money on those tickets.
Can't really blame them. So.
Absolutely.
I mean, they did beat Vanderbilt in Game 3. I think they lost the series 2-1, but they did find a way in 12 innings to beat Vanderbilt. We swept them. So I mean, if that says anything.
That's the weird thing about this team is that, they got swept by Georgia. They lost LSU. They lost to Vanderbilt. But they also beat Bama and Arkansas series-wise at home as well. So, they're not that bad of a team at home, but they're so inconsistent that I just feel like we're going to be just too overwhelmed, honestly.
As long as our pitching holds up, I think we should be fine. But I think our pitching coach, he should be back, right? I think he only had a 1-game suspension.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
That'll be good to have that kind of key staff, because the guy on third base, I give a shout out to him. I don't know the coach's name, but man, he was doing it all by himself. I remember seeing in the game of Bama, he was running from the dugout, running back out to the third base, giving signals, talking to the bullpen, trying to do everything by themselves. And he was like, yeah, it's not the first time. It's happened before last year, the year before that. Tony V kind of has his moments. So it's just, good to see a big, strong staff all around. I wanted to give a shout out to him.
Well, and also worth pointing out just how awesome our team was to rally around and not only win those 2 games without their head coach, but beat the brakes off of Bama in those 2 games. I mean, obviously they have enough internal support staff and just are confident enough to be able to come out no matter what they face, and dealing with Dolander out with that injury too. All of it just kind of happened at once, and they did more than fine. So does Tony get to go back? He gets to go back on the final game of the series, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
So if I'm wondering, since you're a suspended coach, can you travel to Florida, or does he have to stay in Tennessee until Sunday and then make his way down to Florida, or does he have to be away from the team at all? Or
I think he could travel. I think him traveling with the team is not an issue. I just think it's the fact that he can't be inside the stadium on Friday and Saturday. So
Well, can he be at practice? Do we know that?
Can he coach practice?
I mean, I think he's only suspended for games. Like it didn't practice. So I mean,
you're not suspended as I don't know, a suspended head coach. I don't know what that means. I guess his games are.
I mean, Bruce did that his final year here when he was like suspended for those 8 games. He would be practicing with the team, give them like a game plan, and then what's his name, Tony Jones, I think, who was the assistant, would just go along with that. So
yeah, if I'm Coach V, sorry to cut you off. If I'm Coach V, I'm getting far away from Gainesville, finding the nicest beach I can on Friday and Saturday, going and exploring Florida, having a good time. Like don't worry about it. Your guys are gonna get it done. Probably check his phone and be watching come game time. But if he's not, go out there and enjoy it while you can. That's a free vacation. Shit.
I was gonna say, he probably not even mad about the result of the suspension, because at the time we were struggling a little bit. We dropped a game to Tech and we dropped that first game to Bama. So he probably took that and used it as fuel to the fire, like you were saying, Lo. Like that did turn around the complexion of that series and at least our team for the little bit. So I mean, coaches do that at times. Like coaches in basketball, they'll get technicals just to like start something that maybe gets a fire under their team's hind end. But I think that's one thing that like we definitely need to make sure that we do everything we can to hold on to Tony V for that reason, because you can tell that dude's players would run through a brick wall for him any day of the week. Oh, yeah. And that's the type of dude you need leading your team. Somebody that's going to not only like push you in practice and push you in workouts and push you in games and stuff like that, but somebody who's also like there on the other side of it, who's like, I'll go to war for you if you go to war for me. Like that's how you create what we've created now. And I respect the shit out of that man. I'm sorry. I think he's doing great things, and I hope our pocketbooks are wide open for him. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, even us as fans, like, again, we are going after people in the airport because they made him upset. Like that's how much we love him, and that's how much we would fight for him, because we know how much he'd fight for our team. So shout out Tony V. I don't care if you get suspended 100 games, as long as we keep winning, you keep doing your thing.
I just want to make it known I was not the fan going after Jeff in the airport. That was not me. Want to make
that is so crazy on Twitter.
And again, do not do that. That is not a good that is a very easy way to get yourself arrested, especially
all in all, though, man. Just all in all, that man Jeff, man, you can't deny what he did this weekend and the impact he did on college baseball. If I'm Bama or Tennessee, I'm doing everything I can, because even both ways, like he threw that one Bama coach out. I'm making sure that this guy, call the SEC, call the block list, make sure this Jeff Matthews guy is on it, because there's a reason he's banned from umping in the major leagues now. He's banned from triple league ball. Like, this guy is a horrendous umpire, and the fact we had to go through a whole weekend with him, I do not want to see another series this year with this good of a team to stop like kind of greatness that's going on. I don't want to see it.
Well, I have another thing. Was he the guy that eliminated the fur coat and daddy hat? What kind of trip is he on? What in the hell? Who gives him the authority?
Again, it's like I said, like he probably only played 1 year of JV baseball, never made the varsity.
Got hit by a pitch and cried, and was like, fuck it.
He has this like just ball that makes him want to be tough. It's kind of like what my dad used to call it, especially if refs, when he would get technicals when growing up when I was playing basketball. He'd call it Napoleon syndrome. He probably has that. So
little man syndrome, ain't that what it is? Same thing.
Little man syndrome. He would just call like the refs anytime they were on a power trip. He would just call them Napoleon.
Do you think he was calling the strikes under the feet because that's the only thing he could see? He couldn't see over the catcher.
He looks a lot like a redneck version of like PC Principal from South Park. You know what I mean? With the glasses and the teeth and the ridiculous facial hair, like to a T. Because that's probably like maybe about, no offense, probably like 175 pounds heavier than that character. So
no offense.
No offense.
You know how you stop us from like wearing a daddy hat and putting a fur coat on? Pitch better. Okay.
Play better baseball.
Honestly, if it makes you that mad that we celebrate our home runs, prevent us from hitting home runs. Okay, that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be like an umpire stepping in and being like, "Oh, y'all are having too much fun. Baseball's got to be boring." Like, that's people quit watching baseball for that reason. So like, if it's fun and it's exciting and people are like talking crap to each other, that's what you want to see. Like, you want to see action.
Yeah.
So if you really want to keep us from like doing well, like, get better. I'm sorry. I hate that. Like, if we're celebrating doing stuff.
I just want to get to the bottom of why the fuck we stopped doing it. Like, were we going to get fined? Like, who says he's the say all, means all? I mean, I don't see him having any upper level authority whatsoever. Like, why the fuck did we stop doing it? That's
Yeah,
a
every
Probably,
facial hair and that
he
was it.
probably requested it, but like I'm pretty sure they did on Sunday anyway. I'm pretty sure they brought out the fur coat and the daddy hat back on Sunday anyway. So
I didn't see it.
again, power trip guy that didn't, only played 1 year of JV baseball. Like that's the only.
Hit by pitch.
If you're the SEC and you want your college baseball and the conference to be a big money grabbing sport, you got to make sure guys like that guy are not in your conference. You can't have them on. I know like everything SEC, all we talk about in basketball, baseball, football is how they're $1 billion company, $1 billion investment, and they don't have good officiating. It's absolutely horrendous. This was like a one guy thing, but still controlling the impact, getting our guy gone for 4 games. You never want your coach gone, even though how badass it was. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you want this to be, big and you want it to have the full potential and, people to turn on Tennessee baseball or any team in the SEC, like you gotta fix it.
Hey, I want to interject with a funny comment that somebody just said on the feed. It was Ron H3. he said that dude looks like old boy from Dodgeball.
He does.
He looked just like him. That stupid facial hair. He was ugly too. Like, dang, bro. Like, you can't be making a fuss if you like look like that way. You already look ugly.
Scene at the very end of the movie where like he they lost the tournament and he's like all bloated eating fried chicken and with his shirt hanging out, all 300 pounds. That's Jeff Matthews right there.
Hey, he said, how did he end it, Drew? He said, "Fatty make a funny."
Yeah, funny.
That's exactly what he did when he threw out Tony B. He's like, "Oh,
guys, come on, we're better than this, all right."
Yeah, we're better.
All right, we'll talk about Jeremy Pruitt then.
My little guy Jeff. No, I agreed. Jeff was our new JP. Jeff is the problem. But Brian Young, he hopped in our DMs. He said, we should have kept wearing the fur coat. If we're going to be the bad boys of baseball like we want, then we should just go all out. Fuck them. So I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
Wear that fur coat, put that daddy hat on,
They'll bring it back.
I don't care. Fuck it.
Next thing I want to see is a fucking brass knuckle added to the outfit.
Oh, gosh. These are the comments that we said we can't.
But, and you wonder why literally everyone hates our guts. Like, come on.
Hey, come on.
Let's be mature.
Not brass knuckles low. We can get a ring. Imagine a ring with the outfit.
God, I hate that people are going to take that seriously. Please don't.
They're gonna be like, Lo said to. I was just listening to what she said.
Oh, God bless. And then it's just gonna be like this little cut of like me saying it and then nothing afterwards.
Well, I took a pair of brass knuckles and began to figure out why they won't let me in.
I'm giving my all, damn it.
Jeff Matthews.
I just want to give my all.
Oh, Christ.
We took a fucking turn. I thought we were talking about baseball.
I love Tennessee fans.
Unbelievable.
Favorite people.
Nasty.
Brando, you got Tennessee football recruiting information?
I actually do, Drew. I really, really do. Actually, this past weekend, it was like a huge, huge week for Tennessee football recruiting. We landed 2 huge in-state recruits in Trevor Duncan, 4-star edge on Rivals. Trevor Duncan, strong defensive end. Then you also landed the number 5 edge in the nation, number 1 player in the state of Tennessee, Caleb Herring today, which is like a really big announcement yesterday. Really big win for Tennessee, landing him over teams like Georgia and Miami, finally hopping in the boat early to an already elite class. That brings Tennessee's overall number of top 100 recruits to 3. Last year, we had 0, by the way. So 3 already top 100 recruits. One of them's an in-state. Other one's a 5-star quarterback. And then, you also, more on the way, you got Sylvester Smith, 4-star safety. He's announcing on the 26th. You got Brew McCoy in the transfer portal about to make some news. So all in all, big weekend, big week for recruiting leading up to Memorial Day weekend, where they're going to have their biggest weekend probably in a while. You got Carnell Tate, Vic Burley, Jeremiah Cobb, Noah Rogers, who's a 5-star receiver. And then you got Caleb Herring, the new commit, with the new edge coming in, Rico Walker. And that list is going to keep on growing because there's like new 5-stars and 4-star prospects reaching out to our staff every day trying to come for a visit. So really expect that to kind of grow. The Vols also made the top 5 of 4-star wide receiver Aiden Williams, who's like a really big priority. And then the 4-star offensive tackle, Wilkin Formby. I think he's like a top 20 tackle in the nation. So really, really big recruiting. You're kind of seeing Tennessee kind of bloom. All the people said Josh Heupel couldn't recruit, couldn't do this, couldn't build a relationship. It's not just NIL money. It's not just everything going on. Like, these coaches are building relationships, and they're getting guys wanting to come in. And you got more guys seeing it all happen and wanting to show up on campus, like 5-star wide receiver Brandon Ennis, the number 1 receiver in the 2023 class. He's set to use his final visit probably on Tennessee or another team. If you get that guy here with Carnell Tate, and you have those 2 receivers like Kyler Casper, who I'm not going to try to throw a shot on, kid. That's no disrespect to him, but Noah Rogers and Brandon Ennis, like, those are two top 10, top 5 receivers. That's a really, really big key for this offense. And then in the trenches, the number 2 offensive tackle, 5-star Francis, I'm going to fucking butcher this, Mago, I don't know how to say it. Number 2 offensive tackle. Yeah, he's originally from California. The Nico connection's kind of there, but he attends IMG Academy with Carnell. So they're kind of working them both to get a package going there, try to land 2 IMG guys. And I think both are like top 100 prospects. So it's absolutely ridiculous what you're seeing on the trail. And just kind of getting forward to it. Going to be really, really big weeks coming up. But you land the number 1 guy in the state, it's a really good week.
I think one of the biggest things about all this recruit news that's around us is that we really have so many coaches and so many, I mean, like, just the big 3 that like kind of always talk about us. Not Dabo, but Dabo, Saban, and Kiffin. They're all 3 out here trying to virtue signal and be like, well, those guys in East Tennessee are just paying players. Like, they're not building no relationships. They're just buying whoever they want. And this is just a market. And then you're going to screw up the team dynamic. Like, he ain't been doing it for years. Like, anytime that somebody doesn't commit to Bama, they drive in a new Dodge Challenger in crimson red the second they put pen to paper. Okay, so I take so much joy in hearing Kiffin say, "Oh, in East Tennessee they're doing something funny." Like, you're just mad. You're mad. So I don't know. I just had to throw that out there. I love it.
They aren't very smart. I mean, it's legal now, and then they decide to back for it. Like, we're actually following the rules. Sorry, you guys haven't.
They're mad that, like, we're doing the same thing that they were doing, and we used to be bad at it, but now we're like getting good at it. And they're like, "Oh no, they might compete. They might have a following." So
it's just all out of fear. Like, it's all out of fear, and I love it. That we should be feared. I love every second of it. This class is going to be so badass. Like, I am out of my mind ready for football season. I'm so ready.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think Heupel's already shut the haters down with this, like, with the sentiment that he can't recruit, not just in-state, but recruiting in general. And it's like what Brando said, mentioning Francis Malgo with a 5-star offensive tackle, Carnell Tate, Malik Benson, who's a JUCO, number 1 JUCO wide receiver, and 5-star wide receiver Brandon Ennis. These are all guys where Tennessee is trending upwards in their recruiting, And I was looking it up today just because, I had nothing else to do at work today. So I decided to look it up. And, we had the number 2 recruiting class in 2002. We've only had, I think, about 3 recruiting classes in the last 20 years where we've had top 5 classes. If you even land about 2 of these guys, like Carnell Tate and, Francis Malgo, I mean, that's 3 5-stars right there alone. This recruiting class right here has the potential to be one of the best recruiting classes, if not the best recruiting class Tennessee's ever had. And you have to consider that Heupel has been able to do that in his 2nd year. Now, I know there's a lot of factors that NIL is involved in all this stuff as well, but that speaks volumes for him, considering that Fulmer was feared for years on the recruiting trail. Like, and the job that he's done is just night and day compared to the last, 3 stooges that we had as our head coaches for this football program.
Jeremy Pruitt.
All right.
Thanks. And I guess already, looking at it, you're already at the number 8 class right now, and that's with the combined rank with on 24/7 with both transfers and commits. And right now we have 0 transfers for the 2023 class, where other teams already have 3 or 4 going on and getting them in for this semester, kind of abusing that rule. But you do have some transfer portal action going on. You got Brew McCoy that everyone knows is trying to set to make a decision soon. I think he has to do something by May 1st, if I'm not wrong. So expect something like the 1st of May, or maybe that weekend on the 31st or something. He might come out with an official announcement there. I don't think any other team has kind of been involved there, but if you can get involved with that Francis guy, or do whatever you can to do for the 2023 class. Like, if you get some help in the trenches like that, that's a guy that's going to be a 3-year guy, probably first, second round pick, and you can really get those guys and attach them here with what we're to offer, not just on the field, but with the NIL. And not to mention today the new law passing with the state of Tennessee that Governor Bill Lee signed, that Tennessee now can have like a hand-on with all of its coaches, any sport, kind of involve them with what they do outside of things of Tennessee athletics. So that's really big, I feel like, because there's a lot of opportunities, like guys like Juice Davis that host those events for NIL Inspire that, we've been involved or been invited to in the past. And now that coaches like Coach Hype, Rick Barnes, Kelly Harper, they can go out there and, do a charity event or, raise money for their team. And then that's going to, eventually benefit them NIL wise, which is absolutely insane. And I think we're like one of the first states to do that. So taking advantage of that, getting it done while you can. I think the only other two are like California and Texas or someone else. But, joining teams like USC and the recruiting, like, it's absolutely ridiculous. The standards for the bar for this class is absolutely high. I'm seeing like maybe top 10 at least, top 5 if you excel right. And if you go like 9-3, 10-2, and you just have like a crazy season like that, that's going to make more guys believe you on the field with already what you're offering off the field. Like, they know you're a good coach. They know everything they're hearing. They like about the relationships, and you have guys coming here and rage about the coaching staff. If you put it on the field, like, that's where you really get like top 5, top 3, top 2 classes. And Drew said you haven't done it since 2002, 20 years ago. I think now's the time. Like, you got to do it sometime, now or never.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say thank you, Brando, for like really going into detail about that law, because I had a lot of people asking me about it and I was kind of unsure, but you're so intertwined with it that you make it make sense. Because I was like, well, why is this such a big deal? You got to really be in the world to understand it. So I think that'll help out some people who have been questioning, why is this such a big deal for us? Why is it a big deal for the university? That helped me out a lot too. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
So, yeah. I think last night, to be honest, I think it was Heupel that was at an event, some football event, and doing like an interview, just a meet and greet kind of thing. And I think he had an interview where like guys were kind of asking him about NIL and Spire and stuff, and regarding his 2023 class and landing the top quarterback. And you couldn't answer those questions directly, but I don't know if you can now. I don't know if that changes or not. I'm not sure on that part. But if you can just go in and openly talk about what Spire is doing, like what you're offering, what you're able to put on the table to part of your team, and bring other guys in, let it be a full-on invasion. That's kind of a big deal. Like, that's a big deal, because other guys, other coaches in the SEC, they legally can't do that. Like, they just can't.
And I think anytime you can put on the full court press, like you was just saying, and you can be fully transparent with what they're doing and like kind of what they offer to the university, I think that just makes a clean slate for everybody. That way everybody's on the same page. It's not you're hearing it from like essentially like a third person. The third person being like whoever Spire would talk to for us, and now talk to for us and then come to the players. Like, you're hearing it directly from the horse's mouth. And I think that can only help with everything going forward, honestly, because when you're transparent, there's nothing that's like left in the closet, or there's nothing to hide for everybody. So I think it just makes it better, and it'll just improve the way that we run things, I think. But
yeah, I mean, also I feel like, like, especially if these recruits see like, what the current players are getting now, whether if it's for basketball like Sakai, or for football Hendon Hooker, or or Cedric Tillman, if they see like what these guys are getting in now, and like see what Tennessee fans and just university in general is willing to invest into these guys, that has to excite a lot of recruits to come visit here. Not to mention this like out of control fan base that we have too. So
recruits, they definitely take a notice to what's going on behind the scenes with Tennessee. Like, the tweet went out earlier about the NIL laws that I put out, and like the first 100 likes, it was Carnell Tate in there and some other guys, other targets, showing love and seeing what Tennessee's doing statewide, knowing that it'll benefit them in the long run of seeing Tennessee as a legit school. And that's big when you're already battling schools like Ohio State and Georgia already for a prestigious 5-star receiver. So being able to throw that extra hand in there and have that extra talk and be able to talk hands-on about who you want and why you want them and what they can offer and your potential in them. Like, I feel like that's the perfect thing, because you have that coach evaluation and then you do the money evaluation, whatever. Not everyone's going to make those big bucks. And I think that's what went wrong with the whole Kyler thing. I think he had a way too big of a value tag on his head of where he was going to be, and trying to reclassify, coming in with a guy where we're about to land Brew in a loaded wide receiver room. I just think that, he felt lowball. But to be honest, like, you really have to understand that not every high school receiver or high school player is going to be valued that high. Like, there's positions that are valued by the NFL more in a draft, just like there's going to be in NIL with like edge rushers, DBs, linebackers, a quarterback. Like, you want to go and find a leader and a person that's going to lead your team and invest in the right person. And not everyone's going to get, however many digits they want. So I feel like that's a big thing for kids going forward, to kind of humble them, like, understand that just because you're not getting that big offer doesn't mean you're not valued and a priority to these teams.
I'm glad you mentioned Kyler, because I actually wanted to ask you on that. So, I don't know if you know, Lo or Alex, if y'all know, but Kyler, like, also reclassified to 2022, like, for this year as well, after committing to Oregon. If you're Heupel, I mean, wouldn't you at that point rather still have Brew McCoy, even if it is for a year, just considering the fact that he was the number one athlete out of high school? I mean, I feel like at that point he would make more of an immediate impact than Kyler. No offense, of course.
To be honest, I don't think the whole Brew factor of knowing that we're going to land Brew really had a sway on his decision of where he wanted to reclassify at, because Tennessee, they knew was going to be an option to reclassify. He did have the option here. We did have the extra spot from not using it in the last class, and, roster spots and the new, roster rules with NCAA and the COVID stuff. So there was an extra spot for him if he wanted to do it. But I think it had to do more with his family and his ear. There was like a lot of talk about what his dad wanted to do best for him. They kind of had an amazing visit, and like, it was like, oh, Casper's locked down, receiving crystal balls, all the love in the world. And then they go home and it's kind of like a brand new thing, 360. Tennessee doesn't want to give me this, this number. They don't see this in me. They're going to give Carnell whatever. They're going to, maybe they don't see a value in me that they see in someone else, quote unquote. Like, that probably swayed his decision to do that. But it also, I think, not only did it benefit Tennessee, it sucks to lose a guy like that, but I think it does benefit because you also have that extra load to go show another guy, the top guy, that he's your priority at that position. Like, you're not going to spend big on both guys. And if you can lock down that one guy, like, it's a whole different thing. I mean, everyone knows this was kind of coming with the new college and NIL laws. And I think there was like an article, The Athletic kind of covered our Nico thing. There was one about a receiver signing like a 4-year, $1 million deal or something that just reclassified, which kind of just gives you the obvious about what was at stake and what Kyler wanted. And, if Tennessee didn't want to give him $1 million, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm absolutely fine with that. You're not going to see the field year one here, but he probably will at Oregon, a better fit for him. But I just think it kind of had drama all over it, just from his dad and everything else kind of getting involved there.
I think personally, I have a few thoughts about this. First, Tennessee shouldn't, as much as people like want to shit on us for the past however many years, we are a top 15, top 20 historical, like, top of the line program. We should not have to sell ourselves that much. And we're already doing very well as is with the NIL deals and everything we have to offer. But I think it's very important to look at players who are actually wanting to come and play for the goals of the team and play to win championships, and not just playing for themselves. That's a slippery slope with these deals and trying to keep pushing the limit and pushing the envelope. Eventually, you're just going to have to sit down, and the players are going to decide what's best for them. And if they want to chase $1 million somewhere else, that's fine, and I hope it works out for them. But I just think, and I'm happy that we'll let some of those guys slide, because I want the team to be unified and all after the same goal, which is hopefully to win an SEC championship and a natty under Coach Heupel. That's my goal.
That's why I think, not to cut anyone off, but I think that's why we need to focus on valuing how we're doing in-state, because a lot of these in-state guys aren't just getting locked down. Like, most of them probably won't get deals, but, to go into your home state where other schools like Kentucky and Ole Miss and, schools like that are coming into your state, coming into Nashville, Knoxville, and taking your prospects, and you're getting locked down, top 400 players, or Caleb Herring, Aiden Bussell, Mount Juliet, Nate Spillman to lock up, try to get his brother in 2024. Like, you're doing all this in your state and showing these guys that Tennessee's, trying to be back to dominance. And that starts not only here, but, all in the Southeast of getting involved with top prospects. But when you go to your kids in your state and say, hey, this is what we're building, this is who's coming around, and we value you as a kid in the state of Tennessee, we want you to give your all for Tennessee. Like, to have those guys lock in, you got more in-state commits this year than the last 3 classes combined. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I feel like that needs to be praised, and that kids are finally seeing that Tennessee is, the place that runs Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And not to get a little too off topic, but like back to like what Flo was saying, I mean, like Tennessee is a top 10, top 15 all-time program, but like you got to remember that for kids like, Carnell, Nico, Jack, I mean, you heard him last week that like when he thought of Tennessee, nothing really came to mind. And obviously for us, it's like, like we're Tennessee, like we were the GOAT in the 90s and all this stuff. But like most of those kids weren't even alive. Well, they weren't alive, like, but but so I understand like, you want to like sway him because of like what the program's about, what it stands for and everything. But like, I don't necessarily have too much of an issue with having other factors to sway them in. I'd rather have them have those other factors sway them in for now. And then when they show that success on the field, then we can prove again, like what this brand is all about.
I have to say, I kind of disagree because they have to be, I love the disagreements because you have to, in order to be fully committed to the program, you need to be bought in on all the expectations, all the traditions, everything that's expected, and not just be too concerned about money. That's my thing. The money thing has just started. I mean, legally,
right?
Just started.
Legally.
Yeah, legally just started. I totally get your opinion, Drew. I feel like we could meet in the middle, but like I feel like you need to be in the middle. You can't be like, oh, I'm just going here because I want all this money, and you can't. Well, Tennessee is the go. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with that. Like, where you have to have a middle ground where, like, obviously having that type of, like, that offer would be nice, but also realize, like, what this program's all about. But, like, for a lot of those kids, they don't know Tennessee is anything. Like, when they think of Tennessee, I mean, I hate to say it, but, like, they think of us, like, losing to Vanderbilt and Georgia State. Like, they don't think of us winning the national championship in '98 or winning, being in the SEC championship every other year or anything like that. Like, they think, like, Ole Miss has more than we do. And I mean, and I hate to say it, I mean, I really do, but like they've had more success than we've had in the last 10 years, and so like, it's important to like remember that factor, but like, I agree in the middle, like, like where they have to like, believe in here and, be committed to like what Tennessee football is all about. But the money factor is important though.
I agree. I'm sorry to cut anyone off, but I've had this question sitting on my head for a minute. Do y'all think that there needs to be some sort of cap on this before it just gets wildly out of control, or is it's just going to be out of control and then let it fly?
No, I want it to be the Wild Wild West. I'm kids like $30 million. I couldn't care less. If it means that they come here, I mean, if it means that we have to put one of the recruits' faces on the back of the Jumbotron,
oh, fuck no.
I don't care.
We've tried this. We've tried this before.
I just want to win, baby.
I think as a fan of an SEC team that has the second highest or fifth highest grossing income in all of college sports, I do not want to cap on this rule. I think it is perfectly fine where it is at, and I think that is no advantages whatsoever for our university. But as a guy that knows the SEC, I know that they're probably going to put a cap eventually on this. They do this conference, let's be honest, they go in their own way and let the NCAA follow. I think the SEC will eventually do something where everyone kind of, follows that kind of rule. I don't know where it'll be capped at. Like, it's going to be like an overall athletics thing, like for all your programs, what you can spend here. Because if you do that, then, everyone's whole pot is going to fucking football, like in the SEC. Your tennis program, kiss our natties goodbye, kiss our soccer goodbye, because we're not investing in that. That money's going to straight to football.
No.
But, no, I'm not with us, but like other schools, I know Danny White wouldn't do some shit like that, but to be honest, like you got guys are the SEC. If you're in the bottom of the SEC, you're desperate to win in college football. Like, you're going to do whatever it takes, spend whatever kind of money, if it's 75% or a large sum of it at least to win in football.
But that's why you got to have it like baseball. No salary cap. And I'm sorry, if you don't have money, well, it sucks to suck, deal with it. So,
but if we go every season and we get it to the season and they want to shut it down like baseball every year, are we going to have a season? Are we going to lock down? Like, is that going to be toxic for college football if it happens to like a baseball?
It's toxic already. Like, what difference is it going to make? Like, this sport is so corrupt. Like, it ain't going to make a difference.
I think that some of all of this, if we're going to go unlimited, no cap, then we need to figure out how to get better refs and umps and everything else.
Exactly.
Training. I mean, it honestly is pathetic just how many instances you see in every sport in the SEC. It's pretty pathetic. So if we're just going to go balls to the wall and no caps on NIL, there should be no caps on anything, and they should just train the shit out of these people and make them be held accountable for their actions and their calls. I loved the interview idea where they have to actually go interview afterwards and be like, so, like, what was your rationale about this call? And just see, like, what are they going to say?
I would turn on the Pittsburgh fucking fourth quarter Hendon Hooker QB draw and say to the SEC, how are we going to fix this problem right here? What are we going to do to fix this? Because everyone knows that was a first down. Or turn on the Purdue game to Music City Bowl. What are we going to do to fix this right here to get this rule fixed? Because I'll buy in if we have no cap, but we're going to have to fix these problems if y'all are going to be controlling all this money, having all this stuff on your hands, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, so many games, you know, going back to the Bama game or, you know, when Hendon Hooker got targeted, that didn't get called. Like, I feel like you better go all out, balls to the wall, because you're a multi-billion-dollar company. You're a multi-billion-dollar conference, and, you know, if you're going to be the best, then be the best. Invest to be the best if you're going to be making all that money with no cap on it. Like,
and furthermore, sorry.
Oh, yeah. I do have to say, though, like, one of my good friends I grew up with, his dad was, like, an SEC baseball umpire, right? But he also was a referee for Georgia high school football. So I'll just be honest with you. They just get guys to get guys. I mean, like, I feel like at this point, like, if you've refed or umpired a third-grade baseball rec league game, there's probably more than enough to, like, you know, umpire an SEC baseball game. So, if you're gonna put all this money in this, like, in this type of stuff, like, at least invest it in the umpires and the referees, man. I mean, we've not just us, but like so many other teams, like in the last like 15, 20 years, have gotten screwed over by so many abysmal calls at the very end. Like, they gotta address that.
It has to be fixed, and also, I just don't understand. I've really lost my train of thought, and I'm freaking pissed because I had something like right here, and then I was gonna say it, and then Drew and I were talking at the same time. Alex, go ahead, and then I'll try to.
Oh, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, there really is zero reason why we don't hold officiating accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like why do players have to answer for the plays that they make, and coaches have to answer for the decisions that they make, but referees don't? Like, there's zero reason. And the only time that people get held accountable is if something happens. Let's go back to the Miami Duke football game where half the band ends up on the field, but then, like, they're still playing the game. So, like, that the reason that something came down from that is because it became a national talking point, plastered all over ESPN, plastered all over SportsCenter, and then the ACC was like, oh, everybody's talking about us. We should probably suspend them. So then they did. But, like, yeah, what's wrong with, like, I mean, you don't have to go at them and be like, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you missed that call. Like, what did you do? Granted, we're going to do that. But, like, in terms of, like, journalism, like, I feel like it's a fair question to be like, hey, like, you saw this, we saw something different. Like, do you care to explain, like, what your thought process was? I mean, and then there's nothing wrong with that, because then you do get that accountability factor, and you're like, okay, well, it looks like this person are making more of the correct calls than these are. So why would I not put those dudes in positions for New Year's Six bowls or college football playoff championships or the Final Four and stuff like that? Like, that it makes perfect sense. It makes absolutely perfect sense.
I finally remembered my thought. So this is the reason why, yes, Tennessee fans are crazy, but this could potentially eliminate some of this balls to the wall behavior, because we always get so upset and we never get any fucking answers about anything. We're just forced to turn to Twitter and tag Greg Sankey and all of these analysts and tag everybody like a bunch of delusional, like, fans. But we never get any answers. Can you imagine if, like, there was a post-game presser that involved, like, questions about some of these calls? I would sit down and watch it and be like, all right, well, at least I've got, like, an explanation from the dude who called it. And I think it would settle some shit down.
No, because you'll have guys, it's like a Vol Picks level hater that has to go there and stand in front of the people and answer questions about why he unfairly called a game when he knows he unfairly called a game. And he's not going to be able to say that I don't like Josh Heupel or I don't like Tennessee. He's going to have to come up with some excuse, and they're not going to be able to hold him accountable as a professional brand and let their guys go out there and do that. But what you will get is a couple of days later, a little quote from the SEC about how it was perfectly normal and fine to the rules, and they can't do anything about it. And then you're supposed to go on your way and get fucked again, and then play in a bowl game, and then get screwed again, and then just got to live with it. So basketball, baseball, football, it doesn't matter. Like the SEC, they don't hold themselves accountable at all.
Well, ironically enough, that Miami Duke game that you mentioned, Alex, that same officiating crew was the one that officiated the Music City Bowl. So
he was the lead man.
I'm making that up either. Like that's actually
true.
But
no, he was lead man. Absolutely.
The only time I've ever seen the NCAA do anything as far as changing the rules after like an abysmal officiating performance was, unfortunately, the 2010 Music City Bowl, where North Carolina had like 29,000 players on offense.
Who'd North Carolina play in that one, Drew? Who'd they play?
I was there. I was haunted I've been traumatized for life after watching that live. I mean, I've been there for 2 games where Vol fans have thrown trash on the field. 2010 Music City Bowl and that Ole Miss game this past year. So
the Ole Miss back to back. I went to the South Alabama game too, but having Ole Miss, like the big games I went to back to back, being Ole Miss and Purdue, and the way they ended, I just felt like screwed over. I felt so mad. I had full Farragut furious. I was aggressive. I was pissed, and I feel like it was the full Tennessee fan finally came out of me, man. Like I've never been full on pissed or rage Vol fan. I feel like I needed that. So kind of brought a new side of me. I'm kind of thankful that we lost, but at the same time, like I gotta live with that forever. It fucking sucks.
Maynardville mad, Andersonville angry, Powell pissed off, Roane County rage, all the feels.
Roane County rage, that's my favorite. I was waiting on that one. I've been waiting on that one to show up.
Oh my God. That was really bad. And that game, the Music City Bowl, took forever. And I was in Texas Roadhouse. I got off work super late, and I was expecting not to get to watch it. And then all these people are dropping F-bombs in the middle of like a family restaurant. And I'm just like, yeah, we totally got screwed again. Like I couldn't even handle it.
That's not even that bad. I recorded that game because I had to work till 6 o'clock, and I literally turned off all the notifications, all that stuff and everything. And then except for one of my buddies is like, man, we got screwed over. And I'm just like, oh my God, what happened? And then literally watched 4 hours of that till it was midnight. I've never been so pissed off in my life. I mean, and I've seen everything happen with this school.
I was gonna say that game started like 3 or 3:30. I was at it, and it started then, and it was sundown for probably about 45 minutes to an hour when it ended. And I was like, dude, how long have we been here? Like, we've been here for hours. Like, I'm pretty sure it lasted like 5 hours. I was like, bro, first off, like, we won already. Second, what are y'all doing? Like, why are we still here? Like, this game is over. Please just end it. And then there's like, I'll never forget what it felt like to watch that replay, the touchdown on the Jumbotron. Like, we cheered when it happened, obviously. Mm-hmm. The previous plays under review. I look at my friend and I'm like, they're going to do it to us. Like they're going to. They wouldn't review it if they didn't want to. So then they go, and mind you, every review before this had taken at least 15 minutes. They go up there and they go to the booth for like 5 seconds. All right, yeah, no touchdown. And we were like, huh? Like what? And then they showed the replay and we were like, bro, go replay it again. Like, what are you up to?
We go watch the wrong game on that. Isn't it crazy? We talk about the refs, right? And they go and review a play. And then you go and you call someone in Birmingham, Alabama, and you discuss it for 5 to 10, 15 minutes, however long it takes, 2 commercial breaks. And you go out and you say, yeah, that's the one. And you go with your call. And then you gotta understand, after the game, you're wondering why you're getting trashed on at you, why you're getting tweets about your address, or why people are following you at the airport at Tyson McGee. Like, you wonder why. But
that was the thing about like the 2010 Music City Bowl, right? Was like they ended the game. The refs are like, the game's over, Tennessee wins, and then like 5 minutes later he comes out and he's like, the play's under review. And then it's like everybody's like you got
How's under review? It's over.
Yeah, I was like, you said the game was over.
It ended. Like, you can't replay that now. Like, replay them all then. Replay all the games we lost up until this point if we just going to do this. Like, let's just run the clock back up.
It's so ridiculous.
Watching Tennessee athletics, I'm telling you.
Roane County Rage, baby. I love that one.
I can't wait for them to screw us over against Florida this year. I already know it's going to happen.
Oh, full-on checker kneeling, Billy Napier's.
You think it was bad he followed Jeff Matzius at the McGee Tyson Airport? If they screw us over against Florida this year, literally Knoxville will burn down the ground, and there's going to be death threats. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, man.
It's going to be an SEC crew that fucks us that time because in the Music City Bowl is an ACC, but I think in all of the regular season play, like it's on your conference. So another SEC play, I don't put it past them, honestly. Seeing Tennessee coming back, all this glory in the media, I would not put it past them come the third week of the season to just bend us over and put us against the barrel of 50 states. Just fuck us right there. But I kind of was going into my next topic. If you wanted to talk about the next season, what do y'all see happening next season? Because I see a lot of people like 8-4, 9-3, 7-5, being Negavol. Like, what do y'all see to kind of close it out? I feel like you land Brew McCoy, you land some defensive guys if you can, find some spots. Like, there's no reason everybody returning in, a second year Heisman dark horse candidate. You should go at least 9-3.
Let's pipe it down.
Tennessee hasn't won 10 games or 9 games in how many years?
Let's take a step back, okay? Let's take a step back. We still got to remember that we have to go at Pitt, and Pitt looks like a top 15 opponent now since they got that quarterback from USC. They're not going to be easy. We got at LSU. Last time we won at LSU was 2005, okay? We got to go at Georgia. We got to still play Bama. I'm just saying, I still think this team will go 8-4, maybe 9-3. I am not going to say, though, I think 9-3 is the top of the ceiling for this team. Worst case scenario, 7-5. I mean, if you win one more game than you did last year, that's what I consider. So we went, we finished 7-5 last year. If we can go 8-4, then we're on the right track. But I will not in a million years ever say that we're going 9-3, because every time we get our hopes up, it turns to shit. And we all get redneck angry, and then we want to fire the guy. So let's just pipe it down a little bit. All right, let's just pipe it down.
Yeah, I
successful.
Do what?
I said at least 8-4 is a success, but I mean, shit, you got to grow. You got guys like South Carolina, Missouri. If you lose to one of them this year and you two, after you just hosed them, there's.
And we have a defense that allowed a walk-on quarterback throw 5,000 yards against us in the Music City Bowl. There's a lot of room for improvement. We're still trending the right direction, though. Don't get me wrong.
I'm right there with Drew. I was honestly thinking 8-4 because I try to be cautiously optimistic. The last time we got excited was 2016, and we dropped games to Vandy and South Carolina that year. So I'm also pumping the brakes. Also, the last time we were at LSU, we tried to defend a goal line stand with 15 players. So we're going to have to figure that one out too.
That's amazing. We had 15 players on defense on our fault, and then the opposing team the same year had 29,000 players on offense, and we still lost both games. That's so Vols.
Yep, that's us. And then they changed the rule later.
Oh my god. I'm thinking, I'm being a slightly cautious. Now later on, as it gets closer to football season, I expect us all to still be here. And I want to do a full game by game prediction and run through that. That's kind of a season opener. That's one of my favorite things to do. I'm going to be cautious and say 8-4. However, I say that we do beat Florida at home. I don't give a shit who the refs are. Heupel's going to bring the money, and it's not going to matter. And we beat Florida at home. I'm fully confident in that. I was there the last time that we beat Florida at home, and we were down 21-0 at the half, and I had all the faith in the world that we were coming back, and we did. We blew the brakes off of them. So
I don't think that we realize how bad Florida might be next year. Not only did they lose so many to the transfer. Listen. To quote Trey Wallace, what he said there is no way that Tennessee shouldn't go in there and probably beat Florida this year. They are atrocious at depth. They are literally us last year and the year before that. They have defensively, maybe offensively, but defensively, I don't see anything on their defensive line or D backs. So they maybe have one team, their first team can go with anybody, but when you get to that second team, third team depth, I just after the third, fourth quarter going with speed and how we do go fast, if you can get up to a 2-3 score jump in the first quarter like this offense is meant to do. I just don't see them being able to play catch up. It might be too early in the Billy Napier area, in my opinion. I'm just calling my shot, but
Dude, we lost to Florida when they lost to Georgia Southern at home. All right, like it doesn't matter how untalented or how out of depth that they are. Like, they've had our number. I mean, we've beaten them once in the last 17 years. So I understand it. Like, logically, it all makes sense that we should beat Florida, but this game never makes any sense ever. I mean, like, it never does. Like, even when we have more talent than they do, they always find a way to, you know, miraculously win at the very end. I'm not trying to be a negative Vol. I know, like, you think I'm Vols picks over here, but, like, listen, like, I don't want y'all to be heartbroken, okay? I've already know, like, how that game goes. I don't want you guys to be heartbroken, and then I see it all over Twitter that night. Like, I'm not going to tolerate that.
I'm letting you know, Drew. I'm calling the shot. We are beating Florida, and then we're driving to Baton Rouge, and we're taking the country accent away from Brian Kelly.
Great.
We are going.
Now they just beat us by 3 touchdowns at home this year. Thanks a lot, Brando.
Hey, we got to talk about how breaking news. Ball Picks just reveals his identity as Drew over here. He's telling everybody. He's telling the world who he is.
I am Jeremy Pruitt's burner account, guys.
Name a vegetable.
Oh, man.
Wow, we have talked about everything. I swear we've talked about everything.
Except for basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
Except for basketball. Let's talk basketball.
We need to talk about that. I mean,
we just only have 2 notes, really. Just transfer portal stuff, I guess. Kind of last week we talked about all the exits out of basketball with everything we were expecting, and kind of what we kind of hinted at. It's Tennessee looking to reload and improve with their reloading in the transfer portal. You got Yuri Collins, the nation's leading assist leader. He kind of jumped in the portal this past weekend. There's kind of been some Tennessee chatter there behind the scenes that everyone's been talking about. So I think Tennessee's in a really good spot there to land Yuri Collins. And then you got the other guy, Julian Phillips, the 2022 guy that decommitted from LSU. He was, looking serious at Tennessee or going to the G League. But now Auburn kind of laid in there and came a factor. So it's going to be a Tennessee-Auburn battle. Vol fans hearing that, they hear Tennessee and Auburn, they're like, oh, God, not again. But, I feel good about it. I think this guy's a top-level prospect. And if you want to play and you want to win and start immediately, you go to Tennessee because, you have those exits. They're looking for immediate impact guys at that position. So
I like it.
Yeah. Other than that, just quiet.
We're just listening to the Brando nugs. That's all. We're just taking it all in.
I'm hyped. I'm fired up. The whole Caleb Herron recruitment, it got me fired up because I know I kind of knew before a lot of people. I hinted at y'all in the chat like, hey, this is about to go down. We're about to get a big time commit, about to shock the world. Because I feel like they really needed some good publicity after the whole past weekend with what, happened with Casper. And then you do get that good publicity. You lock down the number 1 player in your state for the first time in I don't even know how long, like probably at least 4 or 5 years, like absolutely ridiculous. Like it's been a while since you've locked down. So, controlling your state, locking down your state, not letting guys rage you. I feel like off to a crazy start. And I think this month and next, like the recruiting is going to be ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Close the borders, build the wall.
Oh my God.
What?
wrong time. Sorry, my bad.
You been celebrating the holiday too much, Alex?
Oops. No, I just got out of class. You know that. I got out of class at 7:55. Got in this at 8.
Let's not get out of control. I say that as I've went like, this is what happens when I don't have notes, guys. I just say everything that's on my mind.
Shout out to us going on 4 and 5 minutes.
Roll, as we mentioned about, we're going to send over pussy pockets to, like, yeah.
Me talking about the holidays.
At all today, yeah.
Woo!
That's what you said. You literally.
You tweeted it word for word, bar for bar.
Even though this has been the most out of control episode we've had, at least since I've been here.
Well, that's because there's no notes, so I had no structure for my brain. It's just going.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair.
That's okay.
That's why my Twitter account is the way it is.
Oh my God! What a show! What a show!
I'm having a great time. All right, Brando, do you have anything else to drop?
We forgot to mention Jay White retired. That's another big basketball news thing. Longtime coach Jay White, he retired and is gonna. What the fuck? That butcher his name? Yeah, Jay Wright, not White, but Jay Wright. He retired. I was mentioning to Drew before the episode. A lot of these big time coaches, kind of crazy to see the college basketball landscape changing so much, and seeing all these guys you kind of watch for years and heard, them being elite level coaches and kind of seeing them go. It's a new era, and it's like a lot of young-minded guys getting picked up. So I'm interested to see where college basketball goes as a whole after the game changes. So, but
interesting move of them to hire Kevin Neptune, who, which hell of a name, by the way. That's, awesome name. But for a guy that went 16-16 at Fordham, really, really bizarre choice of head coach. But maybe they know what they're doing. I don't know.
Only time will tell.
I guess so. Jay Rock, next coach of the Lakers. You heard it.
Oh my God! I'll close with both statements on this. Someone said,
NBA in 15 years, and I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Hey, I'm just happy about the Grizz, baby. Boston's over here getting a struggle right now with the Nets. It's not looking too good for Boston and Grant Williams, but
hopefully, Joe Johnson and Josh Smith will be able to bounce back on Friday and get the Hawks a win over Heat.
Golly. Wow. Blast from the past. Holy cow. That's crazy.
It's like I was telling Brando. I was like, dude, I've been so out of touch with NBA basketball that I still thought Joe Johnson was playing for Atlanta.
How long was that? Like,
apparently for over 10 years. And so.
I was gonna say that's like 10 years old and like 6 teams ago. At least 6 teams. Man,
someone on Twitter said 10 Man Jones. He tweeted this saying that Jeff Macias owns Wounded Warriors $2 for that chest bump against Tony Vitello. I don't know if y'all saw the picture of Tony Vitello with the sign today when he was at the student event saying chest bump, and it's $2 for the donation for Wounded Warriors. I thought that was pretty cool. It kind of went viral on Vols Twitter. That was cool to see, the first signing of Coach V outside of the suspension, and he's like kind of taking it in while being quiet, but to see some light shed on it and, for a good cause made me happy to see.
Well, we're taking our crazy negatives and turning them into positives. At least we're doing something, right?
We're growing.
We're taking our death threats to charity cases instead. So we're progress.
We raised $300K for our guys. So.
That's true. We're making moves, man. You can't change all at once.
It's true.
Like we might send death threats to referees,
Macias, and might follow him to Tyson McGee, but
yeah, but hey, change.
Oh my God, guys, my computer's literally about to die. I'm glad I looked up and I didn't just die in the middle
of the universe.
Yeah, that would have pulled a U. So
oh my God, yeah,
both of them,
catching strays at the end of the show.
Brando Andrew.
Hey, mine was like a whole entire different circumstances. Right,
you just sounded like a garbage disposal for the front half of the time we was on here.
That was a pretty tough debut, I have to say.
Well, I'm about to watch the Toronto and Philly game, but apparently they're chanting "fuck Embiid," and that is some must-see content. So if we're done here, I'm gonna go enjoy some basketball. I don't know about y'all.
Hopefully, Chris Bosh can be able to pull off an upset.
All right, Drew, I'm done with your fucking shit.
Hey, the only time I will. Sorry, this will be the last thing I say. The only time I will pull for a sports team out of Memphis is the Memphis Grizzlies. So grit and grind, go Grizz, go Vols. Low, take it away.
All right, I guess we're done. Wild episode, fun episode. Make sure that you don't take our jokes seriously. It is sarcasm. Please don't take us seriously at all. Especially me. Until next time, good night. Go Vols.
Go Vols,
baby.
Vols.